We are here today to announce that the Justice Department has secured felony guilty pleas from the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange, Binance.
Actually, it's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Largest virtual.
Binance.
Binance. And let me be clear. It's Binance.
Binance.
Binance. Council has discussed crypto regulations and legislations at length, and we have come to the conclusion that instead of regulating, we are going to ape a fat bag each into laptop and pump it to over $1,300,000,000,000,000,000,000,000 market cap. Let's fucking go, crackheads.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crypto Morning Coffee. I got my coffee locked and loaded, ready to go, because we have to talk about this market that is just dumping hard since a couple of hours back to 100,000 Bitcoin price. And obviously, everyone is getting a little bit nervous now. What the heck is happening? Why aren't we heading higher in the face of a crypto America and so on? Let's talk about this. A couple of things that are happening at the moment. Are they to worry about, or what is going on, right? The bottom line here is don't get shaken out just because the price movement is like it is right now in these couple of hours. And we are going to talk about why is it dumping? Why is it happening this way? So make sure to stay all the way through, as we're also going to take a look at altcoins, how they are doing, if there's fundamentally anything different than before. And yeah, let's jump right into it. So good morning to each and every one of you. We are way earlier than usually, a little bit earlier at least. I think an hour earlier or so. But that has to happen job-wise. Let's see here in the chat. We have a couple of people. Troy Paris is here. We are on fire. Hello, PH. Hello to you as well. I hope that's not the California reference or something like that. Ivers is also here. Good morning. Andre Omigeko, GM Early Bird. So it's still streaming a little bit earlier than usually. I still get the rare hodlers in here, so that's crazy. They're like, rare hodlers never sleep, it seems. But yeah, welcome to the stream, and thank you to all the rare hodlers. Very important here. Thank you to all the rare hodlers for supporting me here on my journey. You see them all here on the background. A lot of rare hodlers here supporting this channel. And with that, let's jump right into the action. So what we have is this pattern. I don't know if we discussed it. It's the 4-hourly chart, very low, right? But you can see one thing, and that is that we tried to break out here. We reached the upper downward sloping resistance and got massively rejected, resulting in a nasty, overall almost 5% drop out of this pattern. And also we got our confirmation on even lower time frame here for this dropout. So that is definitely something that's gone now. On a longer view, you could argue, well, maybe you have something like this, right? Which is also breaking at the moment, but unconfirmed yet. Local support here. If you take a look at more time frame, though, you will see that you are basically forming a range, forming a range here, starting to range within basically this, right? So you could come all the way down here to 91,000 once again, which also isn't clear. At the same time, you have something like this, right? Which gives you some bullish vibes here. So it's really only a matter of time, in my opinion, and something where we just have to look at where does it go? Does it go all the way here, right? What next chart pattern are we forming? That's basically the question here. I think it's not something. The bears. Let's put the bearish glasses on. Bearish would say, "Oh, this is a double top, right? This is a double top." As well as bears said, this is a head and shoulders, right? But we don't have any validation for these chart patterns. In fact, the head and shoulders got invalidated. A double top is only a double top until. And by the way, usually a cup and handle always forms a double top, right? So it's coming from somewhere and then it forms this pattern, right? So we will have to wait and see until we get some more information here from the market. But there is a theory why this is happening. So let's check this out as well. Actually, we have to switch this around. We're going to watch this in a second. But first of all, let's check this out. And that is 7:51 p.m., January 26th. The royal flush continues. I think this is a really great sequence of comments here from Marty Party. I like this account on Twitter. Exchanges continue to drive price down using Wintermute to market sell assets on their order books. Remember, when they are satisfied enough, leverage longs have been removed, they will send stablecoin to the market maker to market buy assets and drive prices back up, liquidating new shorts. This is how the markets work. Do not get shaken out of your spot asset holdings. Buy at the low and remove the assets from the exchanges to self-custody. That is exactly the strategy that exchanges are driving here. Once the shorts or the longs go too high, they themselves liquidate you on that. They reset the market, they buy parts of the assets themselves, driving the prices up again, and then they continue the game again until everyone has forgotten, right? So market makers are now, this is only an hour later, market makers are now receiving stablecoins from the exchanges in preparation to run it back up, right? So this is from 2 to 3 hours ago. We will see if that's already the point, right? Bitcoin hits 108,000 and Ethereum hits 3,000. So let's see where we are. We are at 100,400, so his prediction is a little bit, has been breached already. We will see how deep this runs down, but the logic behind it is certain, even though that these price targets maybe not, right? And here another comment from him. Remember, trying to get leverage traders off the price is like a horse trying to shake flies off its ass with its tail. The exchange will keep shaking them out to capitulate them. This means try get them to stop longing or to run out of money before they run the price back up. Yeah. So this ultimately the exchange wants it all. So that's and not every trader will get shaken out. Obviously, those who are playing the longer time frames and that are massively in profit and so on, where the long is working out, they will stay in their long, right? They will not close it down. Overall, the game is happening. This game is happening because it's about these funds, right? It's about the rest that happens, right? Total Bitcoin in existence at the moment, 19,943,300, and Bitcoins left to be mined, a mere 1.05 million. So we are really in the mining of the last Bitcoins here. 94%, almost 95% is already issued, and the fight over this Bitcoin started already. Nation states are buying, companies are buying. The exchanges need reserves to supply these demands. ETFs that are demanding, they have to settle. There are laws right now that they can settle directly. So this is really all coming. like the short-term traders, they are trying to make profit in fiat on these developments, but the underlying asset, really this one here, is the one that is being pulled in by the exchanges once again to supply the market. And once the market runs out of Bitcoin, the price is going higher, obviously, because then there needs to be a new price negotiated once the reserves are going down at these prices, right? So driving the price down right now, loading up on Bitcoin, going higher, and then selling higher priced Bitcoin to the market demand, right? To the spot demand, let's say. That is what's happening. So we see we are still going lower, and I think theoretically, technically, possibly, we could hit a flat 100K, and then we'll see if we lose it. We could go all the way down, worst case, to 91K, in my opinion, and then we will see how it unfolds. But yeah, that would be that. Now, there is another fight in crypto that is breaking out, and that is Ripple versus Bitcoiners, right? And this is a little bit of a longer video here from Jack Mallers. It's already 2 days old, but we didn't look at it yet. And I think there's legitimacy to just listening to this video if we're bullish on crypto and the future of Bitcoin, right? So let's check this out here as well. And good morning to you, Jonas. Welcome. Guys, by the way, I didn't ask for it, but please don't forget to smash up the like button here. If you haven't yet. I know the rare hodlers, they have it in them already. Like they come to the video, they smash the like, and then they enjoy. Obviously. So we should have the 14-15 likes here. Let's listen to this. This is a rant from Jack Mallers against Ripple. If you love Ripple, don't hate me for that. Just watch it objectively and then think if there's something to it. If you love Bitcoin, you might like this more. Okay, so let's go here.
A emergency press conference. Ripple is undermining American prosperity and freedom. I can confirm Ripple is actively spending millions of dollars trying to undermine a strategic Bitcoin reserve in the United States of America. This is not just an attack on Bitcoin, but on principles of transparency, on fairness, and on our national security. A Bitcoin strategic reserve would be one of the most important economic announcements in American history. I personally would put it on par with Nixon in 1971. However, it would be the first positive economic announcement that comes from the United States in the last 100 years. In 1933, the U.S. made an economic announcement. What was it? We're confiscating your gold. In 1971, the U.S. made an economic announcement. What was it? We're divorcing ourselves from the gold standard. We're divorcing ourselves from being governed by the immutable laws of Mother Nature so that we can debase your money and inflate your life. In 2008, the U.S. made an economic announcement. What was it? It was, we are bailing out and protecting private corporations, banks, and Wall Street at the expense of you, the public. If the U.S. goes on to make an economic announcement that is the support of a Bitcoin strategic reserve, it will not act against its people in the best interest of the public. It will do the opposite. This is a money that is owned, operated, and governed by the people. Governments and corporations own a fraction of this network. Who owns it? Who had first access? The people, the public. This is about being pro-industry, pro-jobs, pro-energy, pro-growth.
Let's quickly pause here because I think that's something that in all this crypto craze and altcoin hunting and profits is not quite clear, right? we are currently, the plebs are currently owning the majority of the Bitcoin in circulation, right? 55% is in somewhat private hands, right? If you take out the ETFs and MicroStrategy and something that was confiscated by the governments, you don't reach 50%, right? Which is also why everyone else should take at least like a small amount of Bitcoin for themselves, right? Because whether there is a strategic Bitcoin reserve or not right now, the level of adoption suggests that Bitcoin is going to be adopted within the next 25 years or something like that, 30 years, by the majority of the world population, and is going to protect each and every one against the debasement of currency, which he just mentioned. Bitcoin literally was born in that announcement of the banking bailout, right? The bailout of the banks. Like, you remember when Lehman Brothers went down. Even in Germany, there was like the Hippo Real Estate, 100 billion euros to bail out that bank. In Germany, they said your savings are safe. Why? Because people did save in fiat money on bank accounts with X% of return, and that bank went under, and the bank reserve was not insured from a certain amount of money, right? So people would lose retirement, would lose savings, would lose their whatever, right? So what they did is, and what they do is, what Jack Mallers also says is, they started printing the money because they didn't have the money, because bailing out a bank with hundreds of billions would require hundreds of billions of more GDP giving directly to them. They didn't have it. So what did they do? Basically, for the ones that lost their money in that specific bank, in only talking about the Germany case, like the US case is way bigger. Also, the economic impact was way bigger. But let's just talk about this one thing: bank going down, money being printed, bailed out. They basically took from everyone else and said, you the citizen that has nothing to do with this one bank account, and maybe your saving was even different, we're taking a part of your money to ensure the money of the others, right? Basically, so it's a socialist move. Let's put it like that, right? Someone loses something, let's take from the others and give it to them, right? So if I lose $100 bill, technically everyone else has to give a cent so that I can get it back, right? It's absolute stupidity, right? But anyways, that's basically that. So we now have to ensure that we have a part of this newborn, a very young, only 15-year-old insurance that we can own ourselves, for the government not taking our money anymore, not being able to take our money and give it to someone else or something else, not being able anymore to take our money, but they are still able to take everyone else's money who doesn't own any Bitcoin, right? Because basically Bitcoin is a mathematical function against the debasement of money, of fiat money, and a mathematical function, basically your right in getting a part of the debt that has been created on your shoulders in cashback, theoretically, once they're printing to offset that debt. This really needs to sink in. I will preach this until the end, until the very end, because whether there is something adopted or not doesn't matter. We have to ensure ourselves with this fraction. The more you can get, the more you have basically a right to get cash back on extensive money printing, right? So the ultimate end game then, when you even don't have to sell parts of your insurance anymore and you can just get a loan against it, that then this loan gets debased by the government, right? So that is the end game. But let's listen to the rest here.
Pro-technology. This is about solving our deficits. This is about leaning into the future and investing in prosperity for generations to come, equality, inclusion, the leader of the free world, adopting technology that promotes American ideals, a money that we don't control but that we support, that both aids to solve our country's biggest problems and promotes the world we want to see as Americans and its people. Now, Ripple. Ripple is a for-profit company. It prints its own token in XRP, and it is asking the US government to support its monopoly. I ask you this: why should the US government back a privately owned currency? This is corporate lobbying disguised as innovation. This is corporate lobbying disguised as tech growth, jobs, industry. Ripple created all of its currency, issued it to themselves, and relies on the public to buy it. This is not the money for the people. This is not in the best interest of the public. This is in the best interest of a private corporation. This is an economic announcement that would be like 2008, that would be like 1971, that would be like 1933. This is against what this new administration and President Trump stands for. This is against the best interest of the United States of America. It is absurd and ridiculous, and Ripple needs to stand down immediately. Not only are they undermining future prosperity and the United States benefiting from the technological innovation that is Bitcoin, but they are also trying to take advantage of the situation and benefit themselves. Call your representatives and demand an investigation into Ripple's lobbying efforts. Tweet publicly. Post your comments publicly. I've begun fighting back. I will not stand for this. I am an American. I plan to have children in...
Okay, so I'm not an American, but I agree. So I agree at least partially. Is there a right for every company, for-profit company, to issue their own stuff? Yes, of course. Is there a right for the companies within the laws to lobby for their use case? Of course, they all do it, right? I mean, Google does it, Facebook does it, all these companies, they are shilling their products, they are lobbying for the government, they even are partnering with the government against citizens, right? They all do it. But why? So Krieger TV says, why got this guy on here? Because I think his opinion is very valid for us to look at. Vic also says agreed. Or maybe not agreed with Jack Muller. Maybe you mean the old season before, so I'm not going to interpret that. But why do I show this to you guys? Because I think it's valid to hear everyone else's opinion, and this opinion is a very strong opinion. And if we're seeing that the XRP basically wants to build the CBDCs, right? So they're in favor of the CBDCs, but well, let's say the concept of CBDCs, we have to see whether we like it or not, right? In which way they would be issued or not. We see that the current government is, as far as I know, they have launched or Trump has signed an executive order against the use of CBDCs. He said there will not be CBDCs in his power. We see that XRP has actually been funding the Kamala Harris campaign quite a bit, right? In the hopes that Kamala Harris would win the election. They didn't, so now they're lobbying at the Trump. There's only one option now. They're lobbying now at the Trump government. So all of that is something that is... yeah, exactly. Trump passed an executive order to banning CBDC. Alt season and this guy's opinion about Ripple. Do you agree? Okay, so that was correct. Yeah, I also agree with this opinion because I mean, Bitcoin in the end is the reason why we're in this, and Bitcoin is issued by Satoshi Nakamoto, where he only holds like 1 million, has never been touched, never been moved. We don't know if this guy or this group is still alive. Maybe not. Maybe someone got to him. Who knows, right? But the fact is, it hasn't been moved since 15 years. Even if it would move now, even if Satoshi Nakamoto would come online and sell his part, it would dump the market quite a bit. But it wouldn't. Nothing can stop Bitcoin anymore. The question is only how many people will jump on a train for a cryptocurrency that is privately owned versus the one that is in our hands right now. How many people will go on and fumble their opportunity of having a part in that? And that's the reason why I'm showing this video, right? Because I mean, some people have a unique way of bringing things to our attention, and I think Jack Mallers has one very unique way to placing things. So that's the reason why I showed this to you guys. So there's 30 seconds more of him saying that he wants the future for US, and this is the angle, the glass of the US, right? I am a German, right? For me, it's like I want Germany to adopt it as well. I want to have my children in Germany, yada yada, right? This is the same approach, just from a different country, right? So I want, like, Germany fumbled it big time, right? 50,000 Bitcoin flooded into the market. That's definitely a big one. So that's why they were donating tens of millions. Yeah, exactly. That's the reason. That is the reason. We need to know the background. And there are so many people like XRP Army and so on. That's all fine. But why? You have to see the interest of the XRP Foundation or whatever, like the company, is contrary, or at least different, to the interests of the XRP Army. The XRP Army is they want to pump their bags, right? And they got it now. It's time to take some profits at least, right? You can ride that wave in a big fat alt season and make money, but what will you do with the money? You won't hold XRP forever, right? I mean, people want to make profit on XRP. I fully understand that. I fully support that. Ride that wave, get rich, right? What doesn't matter. But then, what after? Where do you convert your profits into? Because you want to sell your altcoin, right? It's not only XRP, like every altcoin. You ultimately want to sell your altcoin and roll it into what? For me, it's clear. I want to sell my altcoin high and roll it into Bitcoin once it's low and get more Bitcoin, right? That's the end game for me. I want to earn fiat and I want to buy Bitcoin with it. I want to get whatever, like item things, sell it and buy Bitcoin. That's only me, right? But that's how I look at it. Okay, so we had all of that. Let's look at the market, and this makes me really bullish on the entire thing, right? The market is basically, the Wall Street cheat sheet, which is usually like a big curve of like going into absolute thrill. The market right now is going from anger into depression, into anger into depression. We are above 100K, and the market is just, this and that, evil. Probably Kamala Harris is going to win. Trump won. But this is all going to shit right now. And the money printing and the inflation, and why do they do this to us, and so on, with over 100K, right? It's absolutely funny because 2 years ago we've been sitting at 15K, and market sentiment feels the same, or at least it feels similar to when we were in the bear market. Still feels similar. People are depressed, people are angry, the war and the inflation and all these macro things are really suppressing sentiment, right? And I think there's some validity to it. I mean, you have to see that people are being laid off big time, especially in Europe, by companies. There was a great table chart yesterday from someone I follow on Twitter, showing the biggest employers in Germany. And the biggest employers in Germany are literally like the states within Germany and then the municipalities in Germany, and then the federal in Germany, and then there was a company. I think it was like all the supermarket, like Edeka. Edeka is one of the biggest supermarkets, the biggest supermarket employer in Germany. And then there was another state level one, I think, like German train company, like DB train company, and then something else, and then like all the automotive industry and stuff like that. So everything that's not doing quite so well. So half of the population, it feels like it isn't in numbers, but it feels like half the population sustained by government employment jobs. But that's just on a side note. So in other countries also, like the tightening is we still feel it, right? People being laid off, people don't get raises on salary, blah, blah. So it doesn't feel that well. People don't have that money at hand. Retail is completely flushed out of crypto at the moment. So retail investor volume, $0 to $10K by USD demand on a 30-day change, right? So how much does the demand change in that cohort of small money, right? $0 to $100,000. $10,000. Like what the so to say small investor is placing into the market. So what's not in here is the 30-day demand that exceeds $10,000, like 100K, a million K. So all the ETFs, like all the rich investors, all the big money, all the companies, blah blah. It's all not in here. It's only us, and even some of you guys not, because I know that there's some bigger fishes in here also on this channel. But you see the demand, since we reached our 100 something K, collapsed to zero basically, very very low. And this only happened one time before within the bull, and that was in the last bull market, right? So you see here, we reached this pre-high, and then we went all the way down to 50K from sub 40K even. Look at this, sub 40K, yeah, all the way down to 25K, I think, and then we went to another peak. So are we in this situation right now? At least we are with the same smallholder demand at the moment, right? So the crowd is asleep, yet the biggest opportunity is unfolding here at this present moment, right? With Bitcoin dominance being extremely high, I think the biggest opportunities are in altcoins at the moment, and at some point the altcoin season will start. We're headed into the end of January, sorry about that, and So let's see here, Bitcoin top, right? Historically, the Mayer multiple has identified Bitcoin overbought conditions when Bitcoin trades above 2.4 oscillator. Every market top has occurred above this level. Right now, the 2.4 level sits near 182,000 Bitcoin. So 82,000 away from where we are right now. Okay, so this oscillator says we're long way from the Bitcoin top. The demand says we are long way from a Bitcoin top, right? So very crazy things. Now, interestingly, I want to update also on the Bitcoin versus global M2. So Bitcoin is usually following M2 closely, at least its movements, right? And this is something interesting, right? Because M2 is usually front-running Bitcoin quite a bit. And what we see here is that Bitcoin does the same formation in terms of its price oscillation as here, right? You see this. But it didn't follow Bitcoin all the way down. We anticipated there must be some kind of a crash or so coming, because M2 went so deep, but it didn't. Like, it didn't happen. It went a part of the way, but it didn't really come down all the way. Now we're having a pullback down to 100K right now, which implies that we're maybe coming a little bit more down here, right, for the Bitcoin price, because of this being front run here in January. But we see already it's coiling up again, right? M2 is coiling up, and we anticipate that it will go way, way higher. So we are only, in my opinion, only waiting, flushing out, keeping everyone desperate until you won't be able to sustain it anymore. Once you say, I just can't anymore, right? That's when the market comes back. The market has a tendency to completely exhaust everyone and their patience of everyone to then come back at full force, right? Look at this here, right? Do you remember a couple of months ago, this year? Do you remember this time? We hardly remember, but it was so exhausting when we were in this bull flag, and every time we came down again, we were hearing all this, like the bear market is over. How can you say in this environment, in this macro environment, that there's anything for a bull, right? Even people talking about, remember that this is a double top from here. We only had until here, and here, people were saying it's a double top. It's like one top and then two top, and we are going to crash, and the next is like Bitcoin 12K is still in the cards, blah, 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 right? You remember that? It was so fucking exhausting. Do you know how many days that was? Until here, we did not get any positive signals. It was 220 days. 220 days of sideways and downwards movement, right? Until we got the next leg. And it was so exhausting. And now we are just moving sideways since what? Like since 1.5 months or so? Like from here, basically, which was still all-time high, is 16th of December to right now, it's 42 days. Okay, so we can come down here easily, no problem. Small sideways chop for us. And then go again. But it is this tendency to exhaust the market like crazy, right? So that is the M2. Now here someone has refined that. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, there. Someone has refined that a little bit more and put together this guy here, Marty Kendall. He has put together a mix of the actual and the estimated Bitcoin price using the M2, the hash rate, gold, and S&P 500. So everything where we could find a correlation in the past years, he has combined them into one chart. So the estimated price is the orange line, and the actual Bitcoin price, so he held it against each other, right? And there's a huge article on this MicroStrategist blog post here. He also has this M2 comparison. And I think it's worth a read because he shows like, okay, so sometimes the M2 and Bitcoin are decoupling, right? Especially here in this raging bull market phases, it's sometimes decoupling and the Bitcoin price is overshooting. Which is the phase that we have right now, right? So there are many indicators here in this article that alter, for example, the miner revenue, right? You remember we looked at this a while ago. Usually, miner revenue acts as a support band. And usually, the cost of mining is going up over time. As you need more mining racks, you get less out of it, energy costs are going higher, and so on. Which means that miners, they can only sell once they're in profit to withstand operation. And if that's not the case, the hash rate collapses because miners are going out of business, and so on. We have seen that before. In the halvings, the miner premium, so to say, is jumping. Yeah. Also Bitcoin is mirroring the stock market, right? So you see here like estimated price is going way higher, and then the actual Bitcoin price is following that. And then at some point you will see a stock market crash, and a Bitcoin crash altogether, right? But we see also that in the past cycle, we saw a stock market collapse happening after Bitcoin topped out, because, and I think that's something to consider. Whereas in the pandemic, it seems that, and also pre-pandemic, it seems that this Bitcoin topped out before, but in the pandemic it was stock market first and then Bitcoin followed. But in the usual tightening environment, it seems that the stock market is topping out after Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the more risky asset, and usually in adoption, investors are pulling out money before from the risk assets and then from the stock market, right? So the S&P 500 seems to be a little bit more, So here we see the estimated S&P 500 using the M2 and then the actual S&P 500 case. It's also fun because you see that the estimate is absolutely underperforming what really happens when the M2 is expanding, right? So we see it here. But we also see this boom and bust cycle in the S&P 500. So money printing, we don't know how long this will go on, but the last time we had a massive printing phase out of crisis. So this could go on for years, for 2 years or so, all right? Actually, that's something to look at, right? Let's pull up a chart. Let's pull up a chart here. So the S&P 500. Let's see. S&P 500. That must be it, right? Can we change that from a line to a candle chart? Why can't I? Okay, I can't change that to a candle chart. Wow, that's crazy. And I have the pro version. Why doesn't that work? Maybe it's what is the ticker for? It's SPX, right? For the S&P 500. Why? Okay, now it works, right? This is this is something where all the crash prophets are running around like headless chickens all the time, and they're predicting that this is going like 19. What they're doing basically, they take the, I don't know if we have that here. I don't think so, right? Let's pull up the. By the way, the red lines are the last recessions. I think so, or was it the Fed funds rate pivot? Something like that. Actually, let's pull up the Fed funds rate indicator. Yeah, that was when the last times that that we pivoted on the Fed funding rate. Okay, this. And so everyone was saying that we are getting the same here, and we didn't, right? And we did make a couple of streams about that we may not get the same thing here, because if you look back in history here, we had a lot of these pivots, like you can't see it here, but we pulled up another chart. We had a lot of these pivots, and we only got a rising market. There's 1, 2, 3 examples, and all the crash prophets were like, "Oh my God, we are going to get the next crash here," right? Bodo says, "What did I just wake up to?" Yeah, good morning to you as well. The market in shambles. It looks like it, right? But it's really, if you zoom out, by the way, here you see it, we are in the weekly. It doesn't look that bad if you look at the weekly, right? It's only a small, it's not like this, right? This here was in December, end of December. We only have a small red blip here. I just want to highlight to you that predicting tops in these markets is not as easy, right? It's not as easy, because like all the Wall Street guys, they're trying to predict these tops, right? And here, for example, here you have this massive drawdown in the S&P 500, 30% on a rising rate, right? Here's a rising rate. And then here you have this massive crash going from here all the way down, 57% on a Fed pivot to the downside. So there is absolutely no pattern. There's no pattern. And people are trying to, and this is cherry picking, this confirmation bias and whatnot. People are trying to pick a pattern, one pattern, and trying one pattern to extrapolate, taking one indicator to extrapolate. Here, 50% crash, Fed pivot to the downside. It happened 2 times, but then here it didn't, right? Here it didn't. Here was a pivot and we rose for another half a year and then we crashed. Pandemic, right? And then here we pivoted to the upside. Everyone expects like mega bull market and then we crash, right? Actually, that was not, that was the pandemic crash and that was the rate cutting crash. Yeah, so that's not how it works, right? When Audi, Bruder, who knows, right? We are pre-rich yet, so we don't talk about cars just yet, right? Okay. So what I think is going to happen is that Trump does the same thing as last time, devaluing the currency, like the DXY, and that's going to pump the market even more, right? Where this is actually, if we overlay, let's see what happens if we put this on a monthly. I didn't look or research this before. These are the last bull runs. The 2 boxes here are our last 2 bull runs, and this is our current bull run, right? So this is where the bear market ended, here on this top. And the second boost probably is when the dollar goes back to this 100 level or so. This is probably the last leg of the bull run. Let's see what happens if we overlay. Let's overlay the S&P 500. Wait a second. Let's get rid of this, and this. And let's just overlay the S&P 500 and then move this. Move this to this. Okay, there we go. Is there any correlation to see? Is there an inverse correlation between the dollar going down and the S&P 500 going up? At least here there is, right? So the dollar goes down and it goes on a pump. Here also it goes down, it goes on a tear, goes down, goes on a tear. Here also you see it, right? Here, let's pull this a little bit out to in scale. Here also, here we have both crashing together. Can you say it like this, right? It's the same that I said before. You're trying to see a correlation, and it's somehow there, right? It's somehow there because this is an overall uptrend, even though you have 2 crashes in here. But yeah, but you can't, and then again you can't. Short term you can maybe, but then again you can't because the DXY is going up and the S&P 500 is going up, right? So you can't really say that on a very long term, like over the last 40 years or so, you can't really say that the M2 change helped it in the long term, right? Yeah, you can't. You can't. The question is, does it help Bitcoin, right? Well, let's see. Let's see if I can I change this? Yeah. Let's change this to BTC chart. Based on the Bitcoin history in existence is dominance goes down, DXY, so dollar dominance goes down, pump. Dollar dominance goes down, pump. Dollar dominance goes down, pump, and then question mark, right? We had that in the inception. Dollar dominance goes down, technically pumped. You just can't see it anymore because the chart, the valuation is too small, right? Yeah, it's not even there. The history is not. So we only have 2 examples, and these 2 examples were correct. But does it continue like that in the future? That's the question. We will see if the dollar comes back here and Bitcoin. What will Bitcoin do? Will we go higher? Will we top out here? Right? Will the dollar come back one more time to the 100 or even go lower? That's the question. My portfolio is 40% down in comparison with December. Yeah. I think for me it's a little bit less as my portfolio is so heavy in Bitcoin, like 55% Bitcoin. It's a little bit less of a drawdown. But overall, I think I'm down. Let's see. Let's make the calculation. I am down like 20% from December. Yeah, 20%. Which is fine as long as we're coming back. So let's look at the altcoins. Still, we are still waiting for the USDT dominance to lose support, right? And we don't. We bounced again. We are hovering around this area and we're just waiting for this to collapse, right? This was anticipated. We knew this would happen. Now the question is, how long do we take to lose the support, okay? Last time, this thing let us wait long time, right? Did they pay you to tell us to hold the bag? Who paid me? Who paid me? Yeah? Who paid me? Did they pay me to tell you to hold the bag here? I'm not telling anyone to hold the bag, man. Feel free. If you are scared, feel free to 120%. What are you talking about? Like which coin? Which coin are you talking about? Yeah? Which of the coins? I'm not paid by anyone besides the rare hodler here. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, man? By the way, guys, smash up the like button here. If you enjoy the legitimacy and the honesty here, because in comparison to many other people on YouTube, I am getting like $100 per month from YouTube revenue, plus one or the other donation from time to time, and that's it, right? If you would count that per hour that I invest in this, I'm literally on a 10% of minimum salary or something like that per hour here. It's not even lucrative to do that here. So tricks, the accusation, back it up, man. Back it up. Which bag are you holding that someone told you to hold? That someone is being paid? Like, what the fuck, right? Come on. Let me know. Bitcoin dominance here. Why are we holding on to our altcoins, right? Let's talk about it. Because Bitcoin dominance is literally on a tear again. Okay, it was a joke. Then slow clap. But no one is paying me, and I kind of take that personal if someone is accusing me, and humor is very difficult to read out of the chart. So it is good that it's a joke. So Bitcoin dominance, right, is coiling up again, and we are not really in that territory where big gains are being made, right? So it basically means that everyone is piling into Bitcoin still, or again, after making some profits of the altcoins. We are still waiting for this to drop lower, but what we did lose here in the sense, like losing, is we this downward sloping maybe resistance here, right? We broke out of it. This did not come to fruition. Also, if you want to see a resistance here, we are also breaking this to the upside. So you really don't want to see, as an altcoin holder, to get a higher high here on the Bitcoin dominance, right? Could that happen? It could, right? It could happen, but it should not. From cycle-wise, we should be at some point heading into altcoins outperforming Bitcoin, right? But it would still be a downtrend here, right? But it's a bit of a head scratcher, to be honest. You don't want to have Bitcoin dominance taking this out. We will see, because ultimately you want to see this repeating, right? This here, you want to see this repeating, but also here we had it came down and then bam, we pumped. We even put in a higher high here, a fake out, so to say, and then we collapsed, right? So Bitcoin dominance definitely a little bit of a head scratcher right now, but at one point I think we will see this coming down, right? At some point we will see this coming down here. But right now we're not behaving as we did here, right? We are not behaving as we did here. Not yet. Okay. Let's look at some altcoins quickly, and that we so this is something. Let's go over the altcoins that we have in the title, so that we are not like shilling people into this without any backing. Well, by the way, this is Veracity. We don't have it in the title, but quickly, since we are already here, this is Veracity, still complying with this compression, so to say, right? It was not able to break out. It tried, but it was not able to break out here on the weekly chart. So Veracity in a very good spot, in my opinion, to, if you are bullish. Once this breaks out, probably Veracity is going to pump as hell. Then we have Devve. Devve, where's the Devve chart? Here. Okay. So for Devve, we were anticipating a pullback potentially to the level of 9 cents. We are pulling back. We will see how low this can go, right? That is Devve. There's not much to say. I think it's pretty bullish. Devve has been rising a lot since the bottom here. Since this falling wedge played out, we are up 10x. Yeah, almost 900% right now, and we have been up more than 10x. So that is for Devve. Let's look at Mcade also. Mcade here. Mcade does not hold support. Actually, that's the wrong chart. Where's my Mcade chart? There you go. We anticipated that this holds support and bounces back. It did not. It did not hold support. So the next level of support coming in is still this one here, at about 1.7 cents, 1.8 cents. So there's something else, some other chart pattern unfolding, but it could not test on top of these two highs, which I would have liked to see. Top test on top of this. We will see. It can quickly pump back here. We don't really have a confirmation of this down, like no back test here of this downtrend yet, so you could still fake up again. Although the indicators are saying, okay, you have been overbought quite a bit. The MACD is flipping bearish on the weekly. The TSI is about to flip bearish on the weekly. So we will see. Maybe it comes down again before it coils up again. So, and then there's something else unfolding. But right now, we don't really see. Yeah, it's unclear. I don't like this, to be honest. I don't like it. Yeah, I think Mcade is a good project. It will go higher, but right now, hopefully we can bounce here. Where VeChain is one other. Okay, so for VeChain, same thing. I would have liked to see more bounce back here. Although it's moving according to the prediction, all right. So you see the blue line here. We have this pullback also here before we go higher. So we will see. The week is 6 days, so we can still close above this level here. And by the way, that also counts for Mcade, right? The week closes in 6 days. So we can still pump back up, close above, and everything's intact. I would not like to see losing this level, even though the prediction here says we might, right? Yeah, the altcoins are in a bad spot right now because of the Bitcoin dominance. So we will see when we will see the turnaround. What about Pepe? Okay, Pepe USDT. What I would see first thing here is this trend and the potential to come back to this lower line at about $0.01. Yeah, here. You could argue that you have somewhat of a rising channel where you don't want to lose the bottom support. Okay. Other than that, this might already be a support here, but I would say you don't want to lose this bottom line. At this moment, certainly no Hawaii for me. Yeah, neither for me, right? At this moment, it's just holding out for the next wave to come in and feel better, right? Pepe is coming down quite hard, over 50% already, and it might get even nastier. We have already Pepe is already in a bearish momentum here, bearish cross on the TSI, bearish cross on the MACD. It's coming close to, I would say, if it gets to the 40 level on the RSI, that's usually bull market support. That could coincide with coming down here to this $0.01, finding support, building out the base, and go again, right? Hopefully that is the case for all the Pepe. Here's another one, VTHO, the gas token of VeChain, right? Look at this. There is this massive pattern, like this inverse head and shoulders, but it did not break ultimately on the weekly, right? It came shot all the way up, got completely sold off under resistance, right? Crazy. But still, it has, like, it's still, the pattern is still valid if you break out and subsequently. And look at this volume that went in here. So the Upbit listing in Korea really did the trick, right? So let's take a measured move here for this. If this would finally break out, let's take the bottom part of the head. Actually, it already did, right? It already hit this target. So, but substantially, it should go to this target once you really break out retest, because here was no retest, like no breakout, like the breakout, no retest, fake out to the downside, right? And we're back to where we are here and here. So sellers are really coming in hard. The question is, will they be out of VTHO? Yeah, now subsequently. In a bull run, probably VTHO is going to go a lot higher than that. Even though, and this is something some people were asking me, people don't even know what it is. Like VTHO is the gas token for VeChain. VTHO is inflationary. You can produce VTHO. You need VTHO to use the toolchain, basically. Hence, it's not... I mean, you can buy it to trade it and hope for like breakouts like this. But I'd rather buy VeChain token than VTHO token, right? This is just me. Yeah, so that definitely is a thing here. And yeah, these are some of the altcoins that I like to look at. One more thing, Ecomi, right? Let's look at Ecomi also. Actually, it's OMI USDT on the Gate.io. And let's go back to logarithmic, otherwise you don't see anything. And let's go into the monthly, because the monthly is the only chart that can give us a real clue into what is happening for Ecomi. So Ecomi, we are in the same spot as we were last week. Falling wedge, rejected at the upper part, so massively, whales were massively selling into it as whales were pumping it massively. By the way, look at the move here. From the downside of this move to the upside of this move, whales did a 3x, and then they just sold it off once again. We are all like, this is the worst monthly candle close that we would have ever had, like from the how deep it is. But we are still in this wedge, right? So we are anticipating the whales to come in and make another move down here, right? This is what we are anticipating. The whales to come in and play this once again to the upside. And the question is, how deep will we move before whales are playing it, right? So from here to the upside of the wedge is not much more move in it, right? Until, considering that whales played it up here, if this would happen again, it's 160%. And this is what happens. The range gets tightened in which they can play, right? By this downward, like moving together of the wedge. There is not much more room until this wedge has to break finally. It can... Let's say it can, let's just assume it moves to get together like this, right? This wedge. And putting this in white because we're not there yet. But technically it's running out of room by end of the year, right? So there's a decision to be made before the end of this year, way before, as the room for trades is getting smaller. Either you lose this wedge to the downside, then probably you get a waterfall collapse into the nothingness, or to the upside, and you have your reversal, right? Then you have your reversal. So we will see, but that's where we are for Ecomi right now. Guys, smash up the like button once more for all the stuff, the insights. Quick one on Veve, just to promote that as well, because I think it's important. We had the horrible wildfires, and Veve is doing a Heart of Renewal. Veve, this is a one-of-one digital artwork that you can get. All the revenue is going to the LA Red Cross LA Fire Relief Fund. So they are introducing this Strong Heart series. Nice, beautiful background, by the way. Here, the flourishing palms and then everything in fire. Beautiful artwork there. I think that's a great one. this is something where it's not about the revenues for Veve and so on. It's a $15 donation basically to get something that also produces MCP. Here there are a couple of these hearts, LA Strong, right? If you happen to hit a secret rare, you can even maybe make money on it, but yeah, these are like 2,000 of these. I'm probably going to take part in this drop just to donate the $15. When is it, by the way? 27th? Oh, it's today. It's today at 8 a.m. PT. So yeah, could be an interesting one to do. Maybe let's say 8. What is that? Like, what is that time? 8 a.m. PT. That's 5 p.m. in Munich. Don't know if I would. Don't know why if I would be able to do that as a stream, but I would certainly love to. Yeah. Dan O says, I was messing with Veve yesterday and just realized I'm not into it at all anymore. Do you think the app is in a state that it is conducive to mass adoption? It's so jank still, in my opinion. Yeah, it's the same for me. I feel the same. The problem for me is that I don't like if it was smooth, I would be browsing the app like I did a couple of years back. I would do it the same. I would find bargains. I would buy stuff on the app. But since the performance is not the same, and I don't know why, like the old app had better performance than this app. So they really need to figure that out. I don't know. I will see how it is on the web, but I really want to have mobile app. Like, I don't care about the web application much because I want to be able to, like, at work on the side, in my lunch break, I want to browse the market. I want to look for comics. I want to build my collection and so on, all on a smooth basis, right? And that's just not the case right now. So I'm using it only 1% of what I was using it before. And that's really bad, right? So yeah, LA Strong, good drop, nice thing for Veve. I hope that a lot of people are participating in that. I will definitely. I like this from time to time charity action, and yeah. So guys, this is it for today. Make sure to smash up the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, notifications on, and wherever you are on the world, have yourselves a great morning, evening, day, night, or afternoon. Hopefully I see you in the next video, a live stream. Have a good one, and bye.